Hey guys, it's Devin with Admiral Off-Road. Today we're making an ashtray switch plate. Let's get started. Step one is going to be removing the top here. So all you do is you open it up, and there's two little tabs on the inside, as you can see. You're just going to pull those in, and then you're going to remove the top. So let me see if I can get this one-handed, just like that, and it pops right out. For step two, you're going to need a screwdriver, and you're just going to place it under there, and you start prying around the edges, and then it'll pop right out. So let's see if I can do that, again, one-handed. There we go, coming out. From there, pops right out, and we've got a good working space to put our switches. Next step is going to be taking the ashtray and tracing the outline onto our metal. Since we know that that fits perfectly inside that little hole there, we're just going to trace it on here and cut it out. Alright, so here's our outline. Just traced it all out. I'm going to go outside and cut it out now. Here we are, just got done cutting this out. Obviously you can use a little bit of cleaning up, so we're going to take it over to the bench grinder, clean it up, fix those lines a little bit, and make sure it fits. So after a bit of grinding, this is what we're left with. I'm going to clean it up just a little bit more. You can see some on the edges there. But just a quick check, here's the top, and we're going to just line it up there. And I think it fits pretty well. Again, I got a little bit more grinding to do in some spots, but I'd say that's a pretty good fit. I can grind it a little bit more and then go test fit it in the Jeep. Here we are back inside the Jeep. We got that panel all nice and cleaned up. Fits well inside of the old ashtray hole. So our next step is going to be drilling holes for our switches. After that we're going to paint it and install it. So now that I know that my lid is going to fit inside of the Jeep, the next step was figuring out where I wanted to put my switches. You can see where I have circled the intersection of all those lines is where I'm going to put each switch. I decided to go with 4. I probably could have fit a 5th one in there. I just don't have that many things that I really want to run off the switch, so I decided to go with 4. Next step is going to be drilling these holes out. Well, as a word of advice, make sure you don't forget your gloves when you're doing that. I got bit a little bit, bleeding pretty good, so if you're holding on to the metal, make sure you got your gloves. So after all the drilling, I ended up using a 15-30 seconds bit, was the biggest I had to use to drill my hole. As you can see, the top 2 switches are a little bit outside of the bottom 2 to kind of follow the curve of it kind of nicely there. So our next step is going to be to sand all these lines off, paint it, then put everything back together and put it in the Jeep. So before we paint here, I'm going to do a little bit of prep. First thing I'm going to use is just some alcohol. When you buy metal from the store, like sheet metal and stuff, normally it comes with a little bit of an oil on it or like a film, so that way it doesn't rust. But since we're going to be painting this, we do have to take that off first. Second step is going to be just using some sandpaper. Going to sand it, rough it up a little bit, and then we're going to spray it. There you go, just like that, just a little bit roughed up. Gonna go to the other side, do the same thing. And now we've got both sides roughed up, we're going to hit it one more time with the alcohol to make sure we get all the metal off of it. as well as any remaining kind of marker marks that I made when I was measuring, or any of that oil still left. So give it a little wipe. There we go, nice and clean and ready to paint. Alright, we are ready to paint. I'm just using cheap 99-cent Project Source flat black spray paint. I got it hanging so that way I can get all sides of it, not have to try and flip it over and wait for it to dry before doing the other side. Alright, now we'll let it sit for a little while, wait for it to dry, make sure it's all nice and even. If we need to do another coat, we will. Sitting inside the Jeep now, we got our finished product. I've wired up one of the switches to give you guys a little look. So when I turn it on, you can see the little LED light there comes on, and when I flip it off, it goes off. I don't have this permanently attached yet, so I can flip it up and show you guys my wires. Just going through the center console there and then out to my rock lights. When I do go to attach it permanently, I'm going to do it with just a little bead of silicone. That way you don't have to see any screws or anything like that. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Admiral Off-Road, how to make an ashtray switch plate. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and please like and subscribe for more videos.